It's Wolf, and it's a 15 first impressions. This one is about Walking Zombie 2 on Nintendo Switch. This was sent to me by Alda Games on Keymailer, and first off, I want to apologize to Alda Games that it took me a while to make this video. I got sent this while I was in the midst of taking a little break from kind of social media in general, and also taking care of a bunch of real life stuff. So this is past the date that Keymailer had said to have this done by, but only by a couple days, hopefully. So anyway, thanks again though for sending me this key. And if this game looks familiar, I actually have covered this previously in another 15 first impressions. I played the Xbox One version of this before. According to YouTube, it was about 2 years ago that I played that version. Walking Zombie 2 is a zombie survival game. It appears to mostly be mission based, and you have like a base camp, you go talk to characters, they ask you to do something, you go out and do it, you fight zombies along the way, you get items, stuff like that. It's pretty straightforward. This is one of these games that's also available on mobile, so I'm not sure if it was developed initially with mobile in mind, but it kind of gives off those vibes a little bit just from the way the controls are set up, the graphics, stuff like that. But it's one of those games that does translate pretty well to console, especially Switch. It runs really well on Switch. When docked, it looked like it was doing 60 FPS 1080p. Part of that is due to the fact that the graphics for this game are not too intense or realistic, which I kind of like actually. I've said before that I like low polygon games that have like smooth textures and simple but high res textures, and that's kind of what this game does. There's not very many polygons. A lot of the colors on things are just flat colors. It gives it a pretty unique look for a zombie game. And speaking of gameplay stuff overall, aside from graphics, the only real complaints that I have about this game that I remember talking about previously when I played this on Xbox One, the controls are a little bit weird, but that can be fixed by just messing around with the controller settings. It feels almost like the touchscreen controls don't exactly translate over at first. Everything's just kind of too sensitive when I started playing, and so I had to mess around with some of the controls. You guys might see that in the gameplay footage. Also, it has gyroscope abilities on Nintendo Switch, so you can play it by moving the controller around and your character will move their head around to aim that way, which is kind of cool. Not my preferred way to play, but I think that some people do like playing like that, so it's interesting that this game has that. Also, the only other major negative about the controls in this game are that sometimes they're a little bit unintuitive. Like the X button is actually what you press to reload, and then also in menus there's a lot of using the right analog stick instead of the left analog stick, and some of the menus are just kind of confusing to navigate. I don't believe I had as much trouble with it this time as I did when I first played it on Xbox, but that might be because I kind of remembered how it worked from when I played it before on Xbox. But it can be easy to sometimes accidentally do something in a menu, or like accidentally leave a mission you're in the middle of or something if you go onto the map menu, stuff like that. As for story, the main thing that stands out to me about this game is that it can be hard to tell if the game is actually taking itself seriously or not, because, for example, when you finish most missions and you report back to the person who gave you the mission, they ask how it went, and a lot of times the protagonist will be like, "It's done, it was hell," and that's like it. Like every single mission, the response is almost that. And like some of the dialogue, it's just hard to tell like if they're being serious or not, and honestly I kind of like that. It gives the game a little bit of a goofy vibe to it. Some of the voice acting also it's very monotone. Like the characters don't really show a lot of emotion in the voice acting, which adds to that a little bit. And there is some stuff in this game that just straight up is goofy, because in both this 15 first impressions and I think the one that I did on Xbox, there's a mission pretty early in the game where another character asks you to literally dig through a toilet to find his watch. Has nothing to do with fighting zombies or anything, but it's an activity nonetheless, and there's like literal poop in the toilet that you have to like push aside. Something else kind of interesting about this game that I didn't notice when I looked at it 2 years ago is that on mobile it actually is pretty dang popular. It says on the Google Play Store that this has over 50 million downloads and 1.37 million reviews, which average out to 4.5 stars, and the first game also has 5 million downloads. I believe the first game is only on mobile, whereas this one is on mobile and consoles, and from what I can tell from the reviews of the mobile version of the game seems to have ads that you can remove for an additional price, and I think there's some other in-app purchases. but the console version of it, both the Xbox version and the Switch versions that I've played, I haven't seen any in-app purchases, which makes sense because it costs money right from the beginning for the console versions. And so that is pretty much everything that comes to mind within these first 15 minutes of playing Walking Zombie 2 on Switch. It seems like a game that maybe if you want to check it out, you could like try the mobile version first or something, because that one's free to play, and then if you like it enough, you could play it on a console. On Switch, I feel like you probably get a little bit of the best of both worlds because the Switch is portable, but you also get the full paid version of the game that doesn't seem to have advertisements or obtrusive in-app purchases, but you can still play it on the go. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in other stuff in the future, and bye-bye.
Were you looking for me?
Yeah, sit down. We have quite a serious problem. We ran out of supplies last week.
What? We're doing great. Look at that goulash.
You don't want to know what it is made of, but I think we're all going to have a good sleep tomorrow. The winter is coming, and we need to prepare as best as possible.
So, I have to bring supplies from your old house, or be eaten as punishment, right?
Well, when I was discussing it with Frank, he proposed to eat you first.
What a jerk. Is there someone else who would like to eat me?
Hard to say, but I heard Leela saying that you are as sweet as honey.